CASIO Discriminant.
Hello CASIO Nation! Welcome back to another video of our CASIO Tech Talk, and for today we will discuss a grade 9 topic that is about discriminant. Discriminant is simply how we can determine the nature of roots of the different quadratic equation. So there are 4 nature of the roots of quadratic equation, but first we need to determine what is the formula of the discriminant. The formula for a discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, given that the quadratic equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And we can determine the numerical coefficient a, b, and c for us to substitute it with our equation d is equal to b squared minus 4ac. Now, let's go to the nature of the roots of this quadratic equation. Now, if the discriminant is equal to 0, meaning there is one real root, and when the quadratic equation has one real root, it means that the quadratic equation is a perfect square trinomial. So, we can reduce its form and factor it as a square of binomial. Now, if the discriminant is a perfect square, it means it has 2 real rational roots. Okay? So again, it has 2 real rational roots, meaning you can use factoring to solve for the roots of the quadratic equation. Now, if the discriminant is greater than 0, meaning the roots are 2 real irrational roots. Okay? And it can be solved using completing the square or quadratic formula that we have discussed last time. Now, when the discriminant is less than 0, do not put effort anymore in factoring because the factors or the roots are imaginary roots. Now, let's go and try our first example. Given that the quadratic equation is 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0, let's first determine the values of a, b, and c for us to determine the discriminant. So here, we have here the a, positive 3, then we have the b, negative 4, and we have the c, which is positive 1. And then we use the discriminant, which is d is equal to b squared minus 4ac. So then, we substitute our values. So we have here b is equal to negative 4. So don't forget to put parentheses when substituting. Minus 4 times 3 multiplied by 1. Now you can use square of an integer is simply multiplying itself by itself. So we have here negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Then, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, times 1 is negative 12. So, we have here the discriminant to be equal to positive 4. Now, the question is positive 4 equal to 0? No. Is positive 4 a perfect square? Yes, since the square root of 4 is positive or negative 2. So, we can say that the nature of the roots of 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 is 2 real rational roots which can be solved using factoring. Now, let's factor this quadratic equation. So, we have 3x squared minus 4x plus 1 equal to 0. Then, we slide 3, multiply it to the constant. So, we have x squared minus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0, which can be factored as x minus 3 times x minus 1. Then, do not forget to slide back 3 by dividing the constant term in the factors by 3. Then, you get x minus 3 over 3 is x minus 1, while x 1/3 cannot be simplified. So, we can simply slide it back beside x and we get the another factor to be 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then, we can now solve the roots by equating these two factors to 0. So, what we will do is x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then transpose, we get x is equal to 1 by using addition property of equality. And then we can equate the another factor to 0. Then addition property of equality. Then we divide both sides by 3. And we get x is equal to 1/3. Now, if we can see, the roots are x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 1/3, which are real rational roots. Now, let's check if how can we get this answer through the use of our calculator. Now, what we can do here to check the value of d without any using substitution, we can use our calcu by simply having or writing our equation b squared minus 4ac, and we put that in our calc button, and we simply type in the values of b, a, and c. Now, in our first problem, the value of b is -4. Our value of a is +3. And our value of c is +1. So the discriminant is 4. So it means since 4 is a perfect square, it has 2 real rational roots. Now, for us to get the root of the quadratic equation, we can go to mode, equation, and then 3 for the quadratic. And we just need to put in all our values of a, b, and c, and we press equal sign. So we have the first value of x to be equals to 1, which is the same in our what we get a while ago, and x is equal to 1/3, which is also the same root as we get in our example. Okay, so now that's how we determine or use our calculator. Cut. Now let's go to number 2. Reset mode. Clear all. Reset. In 3, 2, 1. Now let's go in finding the root of our second example. So we have here 5x squared plus 7x minus 2. Then we just type in our equation, b squared minus 4ac. And then we need to press calc and just type in and plug all the values that we need. So b is equal to 7, a is equal to 5, and c is equal to -2. So we have our discriminant here to be equal to 89. And since 89 is not a perfect square but greater than 0, then we can just simply identify that the root is 2 real irrational roots. Now, for us to determine our roots, just go to mode, equation, then 3, then type in all our values of a, b, and c. And then press equal sign. So we get here, the first is -7 plus square root of 89 over 10. And the second one is -7 minus square root of 89 over 10, which is the same what we got in our example solution. So that is how you use your calculator in finding the discriminant and the roots of quadratic equation. Cut. The end. Boom. Now let's move on with our second example, which is 5x plus 7x minus 2. Let us determine the value of our a, b, and c. Now we have here a. This is our b, which is +7. And our c is -2. And let's substitute that with our discriminant equation, b squared minus 4ac. Then b is equal to +7 squared. So 4 multiplied by 5, which is the value of a, and c is -2. Now let's simplify. 7 squared is equal to 49. Then -4 times 5 is -20. -20 times -2 is +40. So we add plus 40. Then let's sum it up. The discriminant value is 89. Question, is 89 equal to 0? No. Is 89 a perfect square? No. But is 89 greater than 0? Yes. So meaning, it now aligns with this nature of roots, which is two real irrational roots. Now, let's try to get the roots using completing the square. Okay? So, let's complete the square. So, 5x squared plus 7x minus 2 is equal to 0. Transpose negative 2 to the right. We have 5x squared plus 7x is equal to 2. We divide both sides by 5. So we have x squared plus 7 over 5x equals 2 over 5. And then we can complete the square by dividing this by 2. Divide this by 2 and then squared, we get 49 over 100. So what we add in the left side should be added to the other side for the equality law. Then we can get this. Since this is a perfect square trinomial, we can simply get the square root of the first term and square root of the last term, and we need to just copy the middle term sign. So that will be x plus 7 over 10 squared equal, then we need to simplify this. So this becomes 100. Common denominator. So we have 100 divided by 5 is 20 times 2 is 40 plus 49. Then we have here our 89 over 100. Then we just simply need to get the square root of this one. So we need to have this as x plus 7 over 10 equals the square root of 89 divided by square root of 100 is 10. Okay? So then we can just simply transpose 7 over 10 to the right, and that becomes x is equal to negative 7 over 10 plus or minus, since the square root of any number is positive or negative, and we are dealing with simply values of an algebraic expression, so that will be the square root of 89 over 10. Since 10 and 10 are common denominator, we can unite them. We can simplify as one term, and the value of x is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 89 over 10. So therefore, I will just simply rewrite the root here so that it can be visible to you. So x is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 89 all over 10. So this will be our solution for our second example. Now let's check in our calculator whether our answer is correct or not. Now let's go in finding the root of our second example. So we have here 5x squared plus 7x minus 2. Then we just type in our equation, b squared minus 4ac. And then we need to press calc and just type in and plug all the values that we need. So b is equal to 7, a is equal to 5, and c is equal to negative 2. So we have our discriminant here to be equal to 89, and since 89 is not a perfect square but greater than 0, then we can just simply identify that the root is two real irrational roots. Now for us to determine our roots, just go to mode, equation, then 3, then type in all our values of a, b, and c, and then press equal sign. So we get here, the first is negative 7 plus square root of 89 over 10, and the second one is negative 7 minus square root of 89 over 10, which is the same what we got in our example solution. So that is how you use your calculator in finding the discriminant and the roots of quadratic equation.